What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Now, I actually wasn't going to post this week, but I thought I'd keep you guys in the loop. There is a few things I want to show you. We've still got a few things to do on the boat before we start laying up glass, so let's get straight into it. So we're just about to hook up the trailer to the car so we can get the boat out of the shed. We do need to do a little bit more grinding, and I do not want to do it in the little shed. Been there, done that, just makes a mess everywhere. So we're just going to hook it up to the newly purchased trailer so we can get it out and finish our final grinding before we start glassing. Now this here is, well, it's a trailer, we bought it, but it's not the one we're actually going to be using for our boat build. This is pretty heavy duty. It's a John Pappas 3.5 ton electric brake trailer. It's got the heavy duty winch, it's got the drop down wheel for beach launching. Yeah, it's very solid, as you can see how it's built. Now, funny story to this, I ended up buying this about 420 k's out of Perth, and a couple of days before I go down to pick it up, I found an even better trailer that come up on the market, and I ended up buying that as well. So we've got two trailers, basically had to drive 800 plus kilometre round trip to go pick it up, basically to sell it because this one here rocked up. I'll show you that in a second, but just before we do, let's hook this up and get this boat out of the shed.
Well, what do you got the camera on for, Nick?
We got a video, mate.
What are you going to video?
Grinding. More grinding.
A bucket.
It is now. So yes, we are back out grinding. So what I want to do is I want to remove all the chop strands. We put it in the shed and I wanted to come back out and redo the hull. We got to remove all the choppy, which was a part of the stringer layup. We got a few more hours of grinding, so I want to get it down to this layer here. I've done the whole port side up to about here and then this top half. So we've still got all this to do and most of the starboard side. So yeah, let's get straight to grinding. This is going to eliminate most part of delamination and give ourselves a really nice dry layup. So let's get to it. Also got the big grinder as well. Makes work nice and easy.
So if that didn't make sense, basically we haven't gone far enough of the grinding to start our laminate. To get the best bond and prevent any delamination as best as we can, we need to remove all the chop strand material used to support and seal the stringers, and to get down to the original layup of the hull, which is at the woven roving you can see here. Lucky we did, as some of the areas were still holding moisture between the layers. Now we've actually filled up about 6 or 7 bucket loads of grinding dust in the last couple of weeks. 40 plus hours of grinding sure does remove a lot of material, but it's definitely not going to waste because it's going to be a substitute for cabosil and milled fibre later in the build. Now I did say in an earlier episode that I was going to leave the cabin for a later date, but I decided to take this opportunity while it's out of the shed to grind the whole hull down so we can tick another thing off the list. I love taking on advice and listening to what you guys have to say, especially shipwrights that have been doing it for many years. Now, one thing I did take on board from a shipwright was to grind 100mm around the sides of the boat so when we do our layup we can reinforce it into the hull. Okay, I'm sure you guys are sick of me by now of grinding my boat. Yes, if you are going to be doing a boat restoration, grinding is your new best friend. So let's get straight into the shed and show you guys how I made the filler for my strakes.
We've got a workbench today. Now we're going to be mixing up some cabosil, which is this stuff here. They come in all sorts of sizes. I think the biggest they do is 1 kilo bags. Pretty light, 1 kilo for a cement bag size. This is what we're going to be using to fill in the strakes of the boat. I want to get that done so we can fare it off and get ready to lay our first layer inside the hull. Respiray's going on. There you go, nuts. Oh, sorry.
To create the straight filler, we're going to be using a mix of vinyl ester resin and cabosil.
990 grams. Okay. 1 litre going in. through. So that was 1001.
Now there's no set figure to how much cabosil you mix into the resin, but a good rule of thumb is a cup of resin to a cup of cabosil.
That's the consistency we want. That is perfect. We definitely need a lot more though. I don't think that's going to do much. So now we're going to put the catalyst in. It's between 1.2 to 2%. So we've done 2 kilos, so that's between 30-40 grams. 522. So that's good. That's done now. Let's give this one more hit. Thanks, Matt.
Now there's definitely a few ways that you can fill the strakes in your boat. The way I'm showing you how I'm doing it is purely as a filler. There's no structural strength involved in this, as it's just to help with the hull laminate. Now strake filling is definitely not necessary, but it will eliminate a lot of your time when you're fin rolling and getting rid of all those air pockets in your layup. There's definitely a few boats out there where the shipwrights actually utilize this as mini stringers and glass them up to put rigidity in the boat. Now because the cabosil is going in quite thick, you want to make sure that the weather is cool and your catalyst is on the lower end of the scale. This is to prevent any cracking within the cabosil filler.
Man, that was a big job. We used 1 kilo of cabosil and almost 20 kilos of resin. Big job. I think we've done about 4 or 5 mix-ups in, you know, between 2 to 4 kilo batches. We just had enough, which was good. So the trailer that I'm standing next to now is the one we're going to be using for the build. This is a Ace trailer, so it's aluminium structure, meaning that it won't rust. Well, won't corrode for a very, very long time. Now you've also got the electronic brakes at the front, so they're the HydroStar electronic over hydraulic braking system. We've got a brand new winch at the front. This is a multi-roller trailer, but we are looking at making it a skid trailer. Now I've actually set up a bit of a booth in the shed here so we can kind of separate and divide all the toys on the other side and contain the dust as much as we can. Obviously it ain't gonna happen, but hey, anything is a win. So we're gonna be back on track. Next week's episode, I'm hoping to get to the transom and put a couple of layers down. I've just been talking to my shipwright just to make sure we got the right layup and it's strong enough to handle the outboards at the back on the pod, where our stringers, our bulkheads are gonna be. Sure it rides as good as it did back in the day. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little episode. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.